Holy.
The largest earthquake in 2 decades, striking Southern California.
All units, we are on citywide earthquake mode.
California, known for its breathtaking landscapes and vibrant cities, was recently shaken by an earthquake of unprecedented magnitude. This seismic event not only jolted the ground beneath millions, but also gave rise to an unforeseen and devastating aftermath. The region now faces challenges that extend far beyond the tremors, painting a grim picture of nature's undeniable power. The California fault lines, a geological marvel. California, with its sprawling coastlines, lush vineyards, and bustling urban centers, holds beneath it a series of geological wonders that have both defined and threatened its very essence. These wonders are the intricate system of fault lines, which not only dictate the geophysical personality of the state, but have also historically played a crucial role in shaping the Californian way of life. The most renowned of these fault lines is the San Andreas Fault. Stretching over 800 miles, it slices California from the Salton Sea in the south, right up to Cape Mendocino in the north. To many, this fault represents the very pulse of California's geological identity, being responsible for some of the most significant seismic events in the state's history. But the San Andreas is just the tip of the iceberg. Beneath the Californian terrain lies a web of faults, each with its own story and significance. These fault lines are born from the dynamic interactions between tectonic plates. California sits at the converging boundaries of the Pacific and North American plates. As these plates grind and slide past each other, they create stress points in the crust, leading to fractures or faults. Over time, energy accumulates at these stress points, and when it's released, it results in earthquakes. This intricate dance of the Earth's crust has been ongoing for millions of years, and it's what has given California its unique geological blueprint. But why are these fault lines considered a marvel? To the untrained eye, they may seem like mere cracks in the ground. However, to geologists and scientists, they are a live testament to Earth's ever-evolving nature. These faults provide a window into the processes that have sculpted not just California, but our planet over eons. They reveal tales of ancient earthquakes, give insights into the movement of landmasses, and offer clues about potential future seismic activities. Moreover, while they are sources of significant natural disasters, they have also indirectly been benefactors to California's prosperity. These faults have influenced the state's topography, leading to the creation of natural harbors, valleys, and mountain ranges. San Francisco Bay, for instance, owes its existence to the complex interactions of multiple fault systems. The picturesque landscapes that have been a draw for tourists and residents alike are a result of the dynamic geological processes centered around these faults. As we delve further into understanding this relationship, it's essential to appreciate the dual nature of these geological wonders. They are creators, carving out valleys, raising mountains, and shaping coastlines. But they are also destroyers, reminding humans of their vulnerability in the grand tapestry of nature. This balance between creation and destruction defines the essence of the California fault lines, making them a true geological marvel. The understanding of these fault lines and their implications is not just crucial for Californians, but for anyone interested in the formidable forces of nature. For it is in this understanding that we find respect for our planet, its processes, and the need for preparedness in the face of its unpredictable might. The earthquake. Moments of tremor. The day started like any other in California, with the promise of clear blue skies and the familiar hustle and bustle of life. Little did its residents know that deep beneath their feet, a seismic event was brewing, one that would challenge the very essence of their resilience and fortitude. When the earthquake struck, its sheer magnitude sent shock waves throughout the state. Its epicenter, a point deep within the Earth's crust, became the nexus of unimaginable energy release. Vibrations emanated outward in rippling circles, turning solid ground into a treacherous, undulating surface. The scale, as later confirmed by seismologists, was one that had not been witnessed in California for decades, if not longer. With its immense power, this earthquake joined the ranks of the most significant seismic events ever recorded. The duration of the quake, while only lasting a matter of minutes, felt like an eternity to those experiencing it. Time seemed to stretch as floors swayed, buildings groaned, and the very ground beneath one's feet became an untrustworthy entity. But it wasn't just the length of the earthquake that was alarming, it was the intensity with which it struck. Every second was a testament to nature's raw power, revealing the vulnerability of human-made structures and systems. The immediate effects on the land were both spectacular and horrifying. Roads, once smooth and straight, buckled and split, creating hazardous terrains for motorists. Buildings, some historical and others modern, shuddered under the strain, with many succumbing to the quake's force. Cracks snaked through infrastructures, and in some areas, the ground opened up, swallowing whatever lay above. The landscape, especially near the epicenter, was altered in ways that would take years, if not decades, to mend. But beyond the physical damage, the tremors disrupted the fragile fabric of human society. Power lines were downed, leading to widespread blackouts. Communication networks, vital in such emergencies, were overwhelmed or rendered dysfunctional. Transport systems, from buses to trains, were halted, stranding thousands. Essential services like hospitals faced dual challenges: an influx of injured individuals and the need to navigate a compromised infrastructure. Nature's other elements joined the fray too. Gas lines ruptured, leading to fires that danced menacingly against the backdrop of a trembling earth. Water mains broke, flooding streets and homes, compounding the chaos. And as dust from collapsed structures filled the air, a haze enveloped regions, making visibility challenging and exacerbating respiratory issues for many. Amidst this disarray, the spirit of humanity shone brightly. Neighbors helped neighbors, pulling each other from debris and providing comfort in the quake's immediate aftermath. First responders, those brave souls who run towards danger when most flee, were on the scene within moments, navigating treacherous terrains and risking their own lives to save others. Communities rallied together, showcasing the indomitable human spirit that emerges in the face of adversity. While the tremors eventually subsided, their impact would be felt long after. The moments of the earthquake, those terrifying minutes where the earth roared and raged, were a stark reminder of the dynamic planet we inhabit. It underscored the fragility of our existence and the transient nature of the structures and systems we take for granted. As the dust settled and California began to assess the full scale of the damage, a new narrative emerged, one of resilience, recovery, and rebuilding. The earthquake, with its moments of intense tremor, was not just a natural disaster. It was a moment of reckoning, pushing Californians to reflect, respond, and rise above. Beyond shaking tsunamis and the threat to coastal regions, California's coastline, with its pristine beaches and towering cliffs, has long been a beacon for residents and tourists alike. But the same geological activity that shapes this picturesque landscape can also give rise to one of nature's most fearsome phenomena: tsunamis. In the wake of the massive earthquake, the state braced itself for another potent force of nature, one that would approach silently but with potentially devastating power. Tsunamis are born out of abrupt and large-scale disturbances in or near ocean basins. An earthquake of significant magnitude, especially one that occurs beneath the ocean floor or close to the coast, can displace massive amounts of water. This displacement generates waves that travel outward in all directions. As these waves approach shallower waters near the coast, they slow down but increase in height, gathering a might that can be both awe-inspiring and terrifying. For California, already reeling from the effects of the earthquake, the threat of a tsunami was a grim addition to an already fraught situation. Warning systems were activated, and sirens blared along the coast, urging residents to seek higher ground. Evacuation routes, often practiced but seldom used, became paths of safety for thousands fleeing the potential onslaught of the sea. When the first waves reached the shore, their power was evident. Unlike the regular waves that lapped the Californian coast, these were different. They surged forward with a relentless force, consuming everything in their path. Beachfront properties, once coveted for their views, now stood at the front line of destruction. Piers, boardwalks, and marinas, symbols of leisure and recreation, faced the brunt of the water's might. In some areas, the sea receded eerily before the waves arrived, baring the ocean floor and revealing a landscape often hidden from human eyes. This phenomenon, known as drawback, is a precursor to a tsunami's arrival. It provides a small window of time, a grace period, before the full force of the waves strikes. And when they did, the landscape of many coastal regions was altered irrevocably. Streets became rivers, and neighborhoods turned into inundated zones. Vehicles were tossed around like toys, and structures, already compromised by the quake, faced the added assault of saltwater and debris. The ecological impact was profound, too. Coastal ecosystems, delicately balanced and vital for local wildlife, were disrupted. Saltwater infiltrated freshwater sources, and sand dunes, natural barriers to sea surges, were reshaped or washed away. Yet amidst this watery chaos, moments of human tenacity and ingenuity emerged. Boaters and surfers, intimately familiar with the ocean's moods, became impromptu rescuers, navigating the surging waters to help those trapped. Communities, even as they faced personal losses, came together, sharing resources, providing shelter, and offering solace. For days after the initial waves struck, aftershocks from the earthquake posed the risk of further tsunamis. The coast remained on high alert, with residents and authorities closely monitoring any changes in the sea's behavior. The threat of another wave, another surge of destruction, loomed large over a region already grappling with recovery. In the aftermath, as the waters receded and the extent of the destruction became evident, California faced challenging questions. How can coastal regions be better protected against tsunamis? What lessons can be gleaned from this dual tragedy of shaking earth and surging sea? How does one prepare for and respond to threats that are so deeply interconnected? The tsunamis that followed the earthquake were a stark reminder of the interconnectedness of Earth's processes. An event deep within the Earth's crust had ramifications that extended far beyond the immediate epicenter, touching lives both on land and along the coast. California's experience underscored the need for holistic preparedness, one that considers not just the immediate effects of a disaster, but also its cascading consequences. The waves may have receded, but their impact will be felt and studied for years to come, shaping policies, infrastructure, and the very relationship between Californians and their ever-dynamic coastline. Land to sea, the journey of floodwaters. In the wake of the Great Quake, while coastal regions braced for tsunamis, inland areas faced a different but equally menacing threat: floodwaters. The trembling earth had not only wreaked havoc on structures and coastlines, but had also disrupted natural waterways, leading to widespread inundation. The journey of these floodwaters began at their most benign locations: rivers, lakes, and reservoirs, sources of life and sustenance for countless communities. These water bodies, which once provided serene vistas and recreational opportunities, were suddenly transformed into burgeoning forces of nature. The earthquake had altered the topography in subtle but significant ways, changing the course of streams and rivers, causing dams to breach and pushing lakes to overflow their banks. As the waters began their descent towards the sea, they traveled across valleys and plains, absorbing runoff from the rain-soaked ground further swollen by the quake's disturbances. On their way, they encountered towns and cities, places where humans had settled, often with little regard for nature's unpredictable temperament. Roads turned into rivulets, and parks became ponds. Residential areas, especially those at lower elevations, were quickly submerged, their streets and homes inundated with muddy and debris-filled waters. Agricultural lands, California's breadbasket, were particularly hard hit. Crops, painstakingly sown and nurtured, were washed away or drowned, causing significant economic losses for farmers and disrupting food supply chains. Orchards, vineyards, and pastures became waterlogged, their produce and livestock at grave risk. Industrial areas, with their warehouses and factories, were not spared either. Floodwaters breached storage facilities, leading to spills of chemicals and hazardous materials. This added a layer of environmental concern to the immediate challenges of the flood, as pollutants mingled with waters, threatening both human and aquatic life. As the waters continued their relentless push to the sea, they carved new paths, eroding hillsides and causing landslides. In some places, they merged with the tsunami surges, creating a hybrid disaster where the land's wrath met the sea's fury. Estuaries and wetlands, transition zones between freshwater and seawater, became overwhelmed, their delicate ecosystems facing sudden and dramatic shifts. The journey of the floodwaters served as a somber reflection on the intricate relationship between humans and their environment. It underscored the need for respect, preparedness, and adaptability in the face of nature's unpredictability. As California embarked on the road to recovery, the lessons from the land's journey to the sea would become central to discussions about future infrastructure, urban planning, and environmental conservation. For in these waters, the state had witnessed not just destruction, but also the undeniable reminder of nature's dominion over human endeavors. Response in crisis, the role of emergency services. In the face of nature's fury, when structures crumble and landscapes transform, a beacon of hope often emerges from the collective efforts of emergency services. As California grappled with the earthquake's aftermath, the flooding, and the tsunamis, these dedicated professionals and volunteers stood at the forefront, displaying both courage and resilience. From the moment the first tremor struck, emergency services were on high alert. Firefighters, police officers, paramedics, and search and rescue teams all sprang into action, responding to a myriad of crises unfolding simultaneously. Their training, often rigorous and exhaustive, prepared them for such challenges. But the scale of this disaster tested their limits. The immediate task was daunting: assessing the scope of the damage, prioritizing responses, and mobilizing resources. Amidst the cacophony of alarms, sirens, and distress calls, coordination was key. Central command centers worked tirelessly, filtering information, directing teams, and ensuring that help reached where it was most needed. Firefighters, often hailed as urban warriors, faced dual threats. The quake had triggered gas leaks and electrical malfunctions, leading to fires in various locales. These flames, fueled by ruptured lines and exacerbated by broken water mains, presented a complex challenge. Simultaneously, many firefighters assisted with search and rescue operations, pulling individuals from collapsed buildings or helping those trapped by floodwaters. Paramedics and medical professionals were confronted with an overwhelming influx of injured and traumatized individuals. Makeshift triage centers were established in open spaces, and hospitals, even those damaged, became hubs of medical activity. The goal was clear: save as many lives as possible. They dealt with injuries ranging from fractures and lacerations to more severe traumas. Amidst this, they also offered psychological first aid, recognizing that emotional wounds, though invisible, were equally profound. Law enforcement officers worked relentlessly to maintain order. They directed evacuations, managed traffic, and ensured that vital supply lines remained open. Their presence on the streets, at checkpoints, and in communities provided a semblance of security and order amidst the chaos. Search and rescue teams, including specialized units with sniffer dogs and high-tech equipment, embarked on the harrowing task of finding survivors amidst rubble and debris. Every minute counted, and the race against time was palpable. Each rescued individual, each life saved, was a testament to their dedication and skill. Yet the challenges were immense. The very environment in which they operated was constantly changing. Aftershocks posed risks of further collapses, floodwaters made navigation treacherous, and damaged infrastructure often impeded access to critical areas. Communication, too, was a hurdle. With networks overwhelmed or down, teams often relied on makeshift methods, from hand signals to runners to relay information. However, despite these challenges, the achievements of emergency services were monumental. Their rapid response, their ability to adapt to an ever-evolving crisis, and their unwavering commitment saved countless lives. Stories of heroism emerged, of firefighters rescuing families from blazing homes, of paramedics performing life-saving procedures under open skies, of police officers forming human barriers against surging waters, and of search and rescue teams pulling survivors from impossible situations. But beyond the tangible achievements, emergency services played a crucial psychological role. In their uniforms, with their sirens and equipment, they embodied hope. For many, the sight of a rescue helicopter, the sound of a fire truck, or the touch of a paramedic's hand was a reassurance, a promise that help was at hand. As the immediate crisis waned and California began the long process of recovery and rebuilding, the valor and dedication of emergency services remained etched in collective memory. Their actions, underpinned by professionalism and driven by a profound sense of duty, showcased the best of humanity amidst its most challenging moments. Voices from the depths survivor narratives. Every disaster is a tapestry of individual stories, woven together by threads of survival, loss, resilience, and hope. The earthquake that shook California and the subsequent floods and tsunamis gave rise to countless tales, each echoing the human spirit's indomitable will. Here are just a few of these narratives, giving voice to the depths of experience. Anna, a teacher from Santa Cruz, spoke of her experience in the classroom when the earthquake struck. The floor beneath her felt like a moving train, and the cacophony of falling books, shattering windows, and children's cries filled the air. Her instinct to protect took over. She huddled her students under tables and sang to them, masking her own fear with a facade of calm. When the shaking subsided, they emerged, hand in hand, into a changed world, but with a bond stronger than before. In the heart of Los Angeles, Raj, a food truck owner, was in the middle of a bustling lunch service. As his truck swayed violently, he and his customers clung to each other, strangers united by a common threat. When the tremors ceased, Raj converted his food truck into an emergency relief center, offering free meals to anyone in need, proving that even in catastrophe, community spirit thrives. For Sophia, a teenager from Malibu, the horror came from the sea. She watched from her beachfront home as the ocean retreated, only to return with a fury she had never witnessed. As the waves surged forward, her family scrambled to the rooftop, watching in disbelief as their home was consumed. Yet, amidst this chaos, Sophia found solace in her guitar, playing melodies that became a beacon for her neighbors, drawing them together in shared grief and hope. Far inland, Miguel, a farmer in the Central Valley, faced the onslaught of floodwaters. His fields, the result of generations of toil, were drowned in hours. But Miguel's focus was on rescuing his livestock. With a makeshift raft crafted from barn doors and ropes, he navigated the submerged landscape, saving animals and ensuring they had higher ground. His story was a testament to perseverance and the deep bond between a farmer and his land. In San Francisco, Eleanor, an elderly woman living alone, became trapped in her apartment. With power out and communication lines severed, her world shrank to her small living room. But Eleanor was not alone. Her radio, battery-operated and crackling, connected her to the outside. She listened intently to emergency broadcasts, following instructions and taking solace in the shared experiences of callers. That radio became her lifeline, a thread connecting her to a community facing adversity together. These narratives, only a glimpse into the myriad experiences of survivors, highlight the diverse reactions and coping mechanisms people employed. From Anna's protective embrace to Raj's generosity, Sophia's music, Miguel's tenacity, and Eleanor's quiet resilience, each story paints a vivid picture of humanity in the face of overwhelming odds. The earthquake, with its aftershocks, the floodwaters, and the tsunamis, may have altered California's landscape, but they could not break its spirit. The voices emerging from the depths of this disaster serve as a poignant reminder that even in the darkest moments, hope endures, communities rally, and the human spirit, with its boundless resilience, always finds a way to shine through. The Path Forward: Reinventing Disaster Preparedness. The aftershocks of the massive earthquake, both literal and figurative, offered a stark revelation to California and, by extension, the world. Our relationship with the Earth is precarious, and our preparations, however thorough they might seem, can always be outpaced by the unpredictability of nature. Yet in this acknowledgement of vulnerability lies the strength to adapt, learn, and pave the way for a safer coexistence with the planet. The calamity underscored a crucial realization: disaster preparedness cannot be static. It must evolve, informed by every event, every challenge encountered, and every success achieved. With this earthquake, certain aspects of prior preparedness were commendable. Buildings constructed or retrofitted as per the latest seismic codes largely withstood the quake's fury, and emergency response units were swift in their action. Yet, the scale of the disaster illuminated areas of improvement. Firstly, the intricate dance between urban development and nature's forces must be better choreographed. Urban planners, architects, and policymakers must work in tandem to ensure that cities, while aspiring for skyward growth, remain rooted in the knowledge of the land's geology. Building codes, zoning laws, and infrastructure plans must be continuously reviewed, not just based on historical data, but also on predictive models that factor in climate change and shifting geological patterns. Infrastructure resilience must be at the forefront of this reimagined preparedness. Roads, bridges, dams, and utility networks form the arteries of modern civilization, and their vulnerability can cripple entire regions. Investment in robust, adaptable, and sustainable infrastructure, which can not only withstand but also recover quickly from disasters, is non-negotiable. The integration of technology in disaster response and management is another vital area. With advancements in artificial intelligence, predictive analytics, and satellite imagery, there exists the potential to preemptively identify risk zones, optimize evacuation routes, and efficiently allocate resources during emergencies. Additionally, robust communication networks, capable of withstanding nature's onslaught and ensuring uninterrupted connectivity, are crucial. However, structures and technology alone won't suffice. The heart of any effective disaster preparedness strategy is its people. Community-driven initiatives, where residents are educated about the risks inherent to their region, trained in basic rescue and first aid techniques, and organized into local response units, can greatly amplify the effectiveness of official emergency services. An empowered, informed, and cohesive community can make the difference between chaos and coordinated response. Additionally, the importance of mental health preparedness cannot be overstated. Traumas, both physical and psychological, linger long after the immediate crisis has passed. Comprehensive mental health programs, tailored to address the unique challenges faced by disaster survivors and responders alike, should be woven into the fabric of preparedness strategies. Finally, the global nature of our interconnected world demands that disaster preparedness not be confined within national or regional boundaries. Collaborative international frameworks, where knowledge, resources, and best practices are shared, can elevate the collective capability to face natural calamities. The recent earthquake, with its cascading repercussions, was a stern test for California. Yet, like the mythical phoenix, the state has an opportunity to rise from the ashes, stronger and wiser. The lessons learned, the experiences shared, and the resilience displayed provide a foundation upon which a new paradigm of disaster preparedness can be constructed. As California charts this path forward, it not only secures its own future but also offers a beacon for the world, illuminating the way to coexist harmoniously with the formidable forces of nature.